Welcome back to the Sahyadri webinar series, a visual journey across 200 beautiful forts in the Sahyadri across 15 different regions shown over here. Today we'll zoom in on the Selbari Dolbari ranges, the first part where we can find some of the most majestic forts of the Sahyadris north of Nazik. As usual, the HD videos of this webinar are available on my YouTube channel and my blog ultrajourneys.org. A 10-minute preview gets posted on InstaTV and Facebook. Here we can see the traverse we'll be doing in Dolbari, Selbari, Dolbari. We'll be starting at the bottom left at Premgiri, proceed to Scholler Fort and loop towards Bilai, Pimplai, go north to Saler, Salota, go to the trio fort of Muller, Moragat and Harigat, proceeds to Navigat, Mangitungi, Nandin, Dermal, and then turn back south towards Bishta, Karga, Dunda and Ajmera, three smaller fort watchtowers. The Selbari is a mountain range located in the Nazik district, spanning east-west. The hills form the northernmost extent of the Sahyadris and serve as a natural boundary between Nazik and Dule districts. The range is gifted with a number of peaks, including the only two-pinnacle peak of Mangitungi, rising a considerable height of 1,330 meters. Traditionally, the range is limited to the hills sprawling north of the Mazam River, but extended definitions also include those south of the river, which are connected to the former in a semicircular loop. This shorter southern extension is known as the Dolbari Hills, named after a village settlement around their base. Okay, we'll get started at Primgiri Fort, which is on the backside of Eklahari village, about 5 kilometers from Kalwan, the Taluka village in Nazik district. The small watchtowers of Pimpla, Bilai, Premgiri are located on the Shankapur mountain range and fall on the route towards the bigger forts of Saler, Salota, Muller, which fall in the Selbari, Dolbari mountain range. Built by the Yadav kings in 200, there is a well-known Lord Hanuman temple on this fort. Here, previous night, I reached the village late night and was treated on warm hospitality by a small family here in a farming village. Had a nice night rest under comfortable warm blankets. Got some company of a couple of puppies here who were sleeping along with me. Here a small video to show the ambience. Peaceful place for a good night rest. Puppy is still asleep. Okay, so here we have the hill on which Premgiri is built. It's like a pretty nice trail, as it seems to be used by the local villagers, marked by red paint. On top of the hill we find a couple of rock-cut reservoirs, otherwise it's a pretty open hill, except for a small temple with here some old remnants. Voila, getting back down, the family is already up and offers me a cup of tea before I head on my journey into the Dolbari mountain range. Next on the list is Scholler, also known by various other names like Shorgat or Shalheri. Scholler and Saler are conceived as twins. Saler is the highest fort of Maharashtra. Likewise, the other big fort in the Boglon region is Scholler, which have striking resemblance to Saler in shape. There is a statue of Shoranganath on the fort. Here we can see the rock-cut steps leading to a rock-cut corridor to the entrance of the fort. On the fort I meet somebody, a doctor from Nazik, a very nice person who just welcomed me on my journey on the forts of Nazik. Here we can see a top view of Scholler Fort as well as other peaks and ranges there in the same Dolbari ranges. You can see some big rock cut reservoirs in caves on the top pinnacle. And here a small video which my friends took on top of the fort. An aerial video gives you a good view on the magnitude of the fort. Next, moving on to Pimpla. This fort is well known for its two needle holes, one of which is the biggest in Maharashtra. Was part of my online quiz, which I'm running through Insta stories. Pimpla or Kandana Fort is located in the Kalwan Taluka of Nasik district. And although its name is Pimpla, it's far from the village of Pimpla. The base village of this fort is Malgaon Budruk. Here we can see a side view as we climb towards the fort. Two major pinholes, like lengthwise natural arches formed in the top pinnacle. You can see some view here from within the pinhole. On top of the final peak, we find a couple of rock cut reservoirs and also some reservoirs on the below the top pinnacle. After climbing those three forts in the morning, it's time for a dip along the way.
We just finished a beautiful Scholler Fort and reached some 30 minutes further to the base of Pimpla, where, as God would love it, we have a refreshing lake at the base. So taking a quick dip before we head up in the midday sun. Amazing place. Nothing but peacefulness, fresh clean air, water, nice people and hospitality, and small farmers, remote farm settlements.
Voila, we head on to Bilai Fort next in the Dagadi Sakope village. Every year during the Hindu festival of Diwali, the locals visit the cave on the fort, otherwise no one usually visits this place. The path approaching the fort is very slippery, and while going towards the summit we have to cross two rock patches. Here we can see the hill ascent, the ridge leading to the top of the fort. Again, beautiful fort views on the surrounding Dolbari ranges. Top view is marked by a small flag. Then proceeding further to the big ones of Saler Salota, I reached the base by the evening and I grabbed some food in the small dabba run by Sunil here at the base of Saler, who is again very kind to a solo traveler, inviting me in, to have dinner with his family in the home and give me a nice bed to sleep for the night. Short video. Voila, nice comfy bed after again another day of climbing 6 to 8 forts. This would become, the next day would become my biggest day, finishing 8 forts in a single day, including the big ones, Saler, Salota, Muller, all the way to Mangi Tungi in a single day. The north-south stretch of the Sahyadri originates in the Balgan region of Nasik. The north of the Sahyadri in the Balgan region has got dual ranges, Selbari, Dolbari. Saler is the highest fort in the Sahyadri mountains and the second highest peak at 1,567 meters. This was one of the celebrated forts of the Maratha Empire. The money acquired after raiding Surat was brought to this fort on its way to the Maratha capital forts. According to a legend, Lord Parshuram did his tapacharya at the Saler fort after winning the earth and giving it as a donation. He made land for himself to live in by pushing the sea back with his arrows right from this place. The twin fort of Salota at 4,986 feet is very near to Saler. It's a twin fort, an ancient and historically significant place. Like this is also famous for its battles during the reign of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Saler fort was under Shivaji Maharaj in 1671. The Mughals attacked the fort in 1672. Almost 1 lakh soldiers fought in this war. Many soldiers died in this battle, but finally Shivaji Maharaj won the Battle of Saler. Of all the face-to-face battles between the Mughals and the Shivaji Maharaj troops, the Battle of Saler takes first place. Such a big battle was not won before. The bravery and strategy used by the Maratha troops in the battle spread far and wide and increased Shivaji Maharaj fame further. Here you can see a beautiful view on the huge circumference of Salota Fort as we climb up to one of its ridges. Steep rock-cut steps give entry to the upper part of the fort. You can see various entry points along the way where the enemy could have been held up on his way to the top of the fort. Finally, on top, it's a pretty vast flat area where we can find a big water reservoir and also a small temple here where we camped last visit. Quite famous for, so you can always find some other hikers camping on top. On the way then to the back entry from where we connect to Salota, you'll find a long ledge here with several caves and reservoirs along the way. Finally, a big rock-cut staircase descends to the saddle that connects both the forts. At the back you can see Salota there. Various entry gates again to stall any enemy attacks. Here you can see that majestic rock-cut staircase, a huge staircase cut along this ridge leading to the other fort. Here you can see a view from the bottom. Voila, and finally then we end up towards the saddle where we proceed towards another equally majestic hill, Salota. Salota entrance is also cut out in basalt rock. Here is the entry to the fort, which again goes through several gates before you can enter the top of the fort. Along the way, again, huge reservoirs, enough to provide water and other supplies to a big army that has to hold out on top in case of a big siege. Here another beautiful view with the caves, the reservoirs on Salota and Saler fort at the back, with the staircase there on the ridge of Saler in the background visible. Here you see a close-up of that rock-cut staircase through which we descended at the back from Saler. Voila, getting back down, we again come into beautiful, peaceful farming hamlets along the way. On our next stop to a triple fort. In the ancient times, the village was located on Muller Fort. In due course of period, the villagers descended, and Muller village is now situated at the foothills 2 kilometers away from the fort. The village belongs to the period of Mahabharata, when it was known as Ratnapur. The king Mayurdwaj ruled this region, and the village was then named as Mayurpur. When Aurangzeb conquered this fort, the fort came into existence with the name of Aurangabad. You can see 3 forts there, 2 forts pretty closely connected, Muller and Moragat, and then the other one, Hargat, a little bit away. The citations of Muller can be found in the first decades of the 14th centuries, while Puranas are believed to have few mentions of it. The fort was built by the Baghul dynasty, who ruled the region from 1308 to 1619 AD. It was during the rule of this dynasty the world-famous Mulheri Mut, the sword handle, was made. Hinduism was established in this region much before that in Vijayanagar. Moragat is the second bastion of Muller. Nothing much is written in the history about Hargat Fort, which is the 3rd fort in this range, as no major battle was fought here. This fort can be seen from the village of Muller. Forts Muller in the front, Moragat on the left, and Hargat on the right. This fort is at a higher elevation than the fort of Muller. As we climb up to Muller here with Hargat in the back there, rising up high, we can see a big lake with a beautifully architectured temple next to the lake. Here we can see some of the architecture inside. Beautiful arches and a small temple underground here, which receives sunlight through a small window corridor. Voila, here we can see from Muller's side the rock-cut path leading up to the top of Moragat Fort. This is the entrance towards Moragat's fortified gates to stop any enemy attacks again. Voila, here we can see the rock steps towards Muller Fort, the top of Muller Fort, heavily fortified with several walls along the way, and here, as we are camping, we can see the sun setting over the Selbari ranges from the top of Muller. Voila, here we can see the rocket steps descending from Muller Fort with Hargat in the background. Big reservoirs on the side of the hill, as well as some beautiful, pretty large caves there next to those water tanks. Voila, this is like a long descent along a gully where steps and various fortified walls have been made. In the background we see the huge hill of Hargat. Hargat entrance is almost inaccessible as the main initial staircase has been destroyed, so you need to climb up of some rocks and pull yourself up through the main entrance door of Hargat. Beautiful corridor in pretty good shape yet, I guess because no battles has been fought there in history. Let's go on a small video walk through this.
Descending from the majestic entrance of Hargat near Muller and Moragat. Steep entry washed away in recent rains. Beautiful place. These are breaking down.
Voila, this was the first section of the Selbari Dolbari ranges, covering some 15 forts. See you tomorrow for the second session. You can find all the webinars of the Sahyadri as well as the Himalayas on my blog ultrajourneys.org, as well as lots and lots of other information. See you guys tomorrow.